So we are back to continue the drawing. So I remember in the fight scene of Raimei with Hikari, there was also like mist and clouds in the background. So it was a little bit this won't be on the finished. It's just a visual point to remember for digital brushes later on. So I wanted, when I look back, I wanted to add some stone there, castle ground. So we should not make it too like pattern, like copy paste. Try to have it some randomness to the stones. Still main build, but you know, it's like middle age, so they kind of used the shapes and tried to match it with the proper stone that could best fit. And then later on we can work more on the stone with the digital painting to add some volumes and shading and so on. So this is just still the sketch. And as we go further in the background, it will become smaller and smaller. So if you are a little bit beginner or intermediate in drawing, you can remember that perspective is geometrical and also atmospheric. So for example, the stones, we don't use like a straight lines and like a architecture kind of based perspective, but we remember that we go deep into the distance. So whether it's stones, trees, people, buildings, everything fades and becomes smaller as it recedes in the background. So it's a simple organic way to work with the perspective, which is a little bit less scary than when learning like a geometrical perspective, which geometrical perspective is not as scary as it seems at first, but you just need to slowly learn basics and do some exercise with the basics, and then demystify the complexity and technical kind of freaky aspect of perspective. And as we go further back, we can start to just, you know, we don't want to be too messy, but we don't need to do every single stone because as the eye would also perceive things, um, you see less details as things are in the background. So you still want it to look like in your mind. You don't want to be sketchy, but visually the end result can be a little bit less finished in the background. So here, so when you do these kind of repeated patterns, just breathe and relax, and you can use that to make your mind settle, be peaceful. In the past, I was a Buddhist monk. I was living in a Plum Village. I was studying Zen mindfulness under the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. So, you know, mindfulness is good for everything and for drawing also. To stay focused and relaxed in the present moment. So, when you draw, it can become a present moment that is relaxed and enjoyable. See, I'm a little bit too much pattern around here, too much repeat. It's okay, we can adjust later. Here we do a little bit less. We want to leave the blank white for the speed effect of Hikari jumping towards Raimei. And I thought, where can I put Temenos? So could be here. Poor guy. That could be like some comic relief, like save me. Not canon to the story, but you know, sometimes it's fan art. It's like fan art what I'm doing now, so we can have some fun with it. We don't have to take ourselves too seriously. Who knows? Maybe I will put Temenos there. So we have to save him. We have a reason to. One more reason to fight. He was too naive. a priest, got captured and put on the chopping block for heresy or something. Okay, so we're gonna put the wood, we're gonna make it kind of a sharp piece of wood. A little bit more, yeah, like this. I didn't have time to find a guillotine, so we're gonna work with a simple visual where we could have something like this, like a wooden peg that is logged into a hole on the blade, and that peg would be then connected to a string that would come down and be tied here. So the executioner would just pull, release, and the blade would come down, something like that. Yeah, it's alright. They didn't have the like it's a old guillotine, basic one. The engineers didn't have yet perfect this kind of tech. Okay, shall we put Temenos there? Yeah, it's kind of funny. Let's put him here. His head is there, so we're gonna erase a little bit here. So it won't take much space, also faster to draw. So he's kind of a little bit stressed, huh? Temenos. He's not ready to die yet. Well, maybe like this. Okay, that's okay, that's enough. It's a background. Okay, a little bit more stone. We don't want to spend the whole morning doing paved stone. Oh, we won't see that. It's hidden behind the cape. Yeah, sometimes we forget that there is something in between. Can be a very big mistake when we ink on a traditional medium. So there is the usual way of proceeding for inking. You start from the front and you go in the back. If you go in the back, you start to ink somewhere where there is something in the front, and then you're in trouble. And for painting, I'm less pro with painting, but usually it seems like you start from the back and you build up the painting towards the front. Make painting easier, especially digitally, because you can fill up the background, and then on the same layer or another layer you can paint on top. And some traditional painting also do that, but I grew up mostly drawing, so because I was using pen and not pain, huh? pen pen and pencils, so I didn't really get my brain to be the brain of a painter. I'm pretty amazed by what a painter can do, how their brain works. It's pretty amazing. Like, they don't need much lines. They can just go into like the unknown and create stuff with colors. And for me, my brain has been trained to need to have lines, to have a sketch, to have something that I know, okay, this is where I need to put the color later. So if you're young, you can still have the choice maybe to get a painter's brain or a line art brain, or both. Some can do both. For me, sometimes I try to go into painting mode, but the results are not very good. I see that for me it's easier to start by drawing, sketching, having a convincing, solid drawing, and then I can kind of struggle, but get something kind of okay with the colors. So these are pretty big stone, but we don't want to go too much in details, so as I said on the first session, This mostly will be like blurry background, so we don't need to make it too perfect. But yeah, we can still make it look alright. So maybe you wonder, what's that guy? He was a Buddhist monk and now he's playing video games. Yeah, I'm sorry. I grew up playing video games, and it's part of the creative um, inspiration for me, because I'm not like a classical artist. I learn about art and drawing through games and cartoons and comics and anime. So even now, when I see some new games and I see like the art that is going with that game, I'm like, yeah, wow, this is good looking, or this is inspiring. And yeah, Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy art is really something I resonate with, because it's not too much trying to show off like a skill, but the artist is expressing himself and working with his strength to get the best result. And I think it's important to remember that when we do art, we don't need to do as good as what we see on the internet. We just need to feel like we enjoy what we do, and we grow as we improve our own approach to drawing, and we can achieve the goals we have for our art. Like if you want to do mangas or comics, you want to feel like I can express, I can tell the stories I want to tell. And there are some mangas that don't look great. The art is really not impressive at all, but the person can tell a story, and that's a win for them. Maybe their art is not like very advanced, but they still achieve something they want to achieve. So we may judge the art not to be great. I do, when I see some mangas, I'm like, wow. Then if this guy can get published, then there's hope. But after I did one comic a few years ago, and I realized that it's tough. It's difficult to do a comic. It takes a lot of discipline, determination, uh, perseverance, and so whether it's like people doing a game or writing a novel or anything, it's a big achievement, you know. People who don't do it, they can be more easily judgmental, but if you try yourself to do something, you will realize it's difficult and it takes character. So you will be less harsh with when you see others' creations. You will have respect for their efforts. Okay, so slowly it takes shape. We can put some panic drops. All right, okay. So then there is something we can still do. Let me see where it is. Traditional art can be a little bit messy and annoying, but when we have grown up with it, it's good to go back to it sometime to reconnect with our original love with the media. I could do that with digital, but it would be a little bit it would take away the white, because when you do digital you have a perfect white, but when you draw on paper you have a white that is not like perfect. So when you want to erase something digitally on a scan of a traditional art, it will take away some white of the paper that is scanned also. So for me, I like to leave some imperfection and have it part of the piece. It makes it less plasticky. As I said, you know, like in the last session, some anime finish is too perfect, too clean, makes the connection with the art a little bit I don't know, superficial or something like that. Maybe that's because I draw a lot since I'm a kid, so I'm a little bit picky. But I appreciate now a little bit different approach, not necessarily the best looking, or just something that is a bit more organic, unpolished, unfinished. Like there is the manga Blade of the Immortal, and I don't know exactly how the mangaka is Hiroaki Samura. I don't know how he finished his pages, but some they look like it's still a pencil, and that's my favorite pages, when you can still see the messy grain of the pencil. Okay, so let's say we are good for the basic drawing. We're gonna stop there, and we have a third part which will be digital. So I will scan the drawing. So when you scan, you can scan with different resolution, like 300 dpi or 350 or 600. So that makes the file bigger, and when you go into details, it's not like too much pixels if you have a higher dpi. So if you need to scan your art, you can try 300, 350. You can even manually choose, but usually for like if you want to do comics, manga, there are some references of resolution and dpi for working with publishers or just printing companies. So yeah, scanning is another thing to learn, but it's not too complicated, but still there's some things you can learn. So the fighting scene is a little bit like a bluish and like misty, so it's like a foggy morning, like in Scotland or something. So the colors will be kind of not too saturated, and we will stay on the kind of a bluish and whitish mood. So we'll see. So second session shorter than the first one. Yeah, drawing takes time. So together it's been 1 hour 30 minutes to draw this. So I think it's not too bad. It's not too long. And the next step will be colors. So see you there.